The way Florian jumped in Jasmine's face was scary. Stacey sounded so scared / upset, as well as when she yelled, "Don't you dare." I think there is more to Florian than we know right now. But as someone who is also from the Balkans, this is how men are. Trash. Now, with that being said, now I did address the fact that Florian was, a bit aggressive there, and also that Stacey didn't even defend him. You see what I'm saying? But then after coming across this little thread here on Reddit, it made me rewatch the whole scene again. And really and truly, I want you to focus on the way he's quick to use his hands whenever Jasmine leans over to grab a drink or anything like that. He's very hands-on. Now, for a man to be comfortable enough to use his hands around women, that can scream multiple different things. But before we get into that, let's go back to the clip itself in particular, okay? And let's just have a further look at the things that are going on right here, right now.
We're all doing it.
Yes, you are.
I need you to lower your tone. I don't want him to have to have fun. Well, I'm not.
Just the fact that Stacey's like, "I want you to lower your tone," that tells me a lot of things here. It says that clearly she's used to him raising his tone and then her having to always tell him to calm down. Because in this situation, you'd imagine that the wife would be, or the partner would want to support her partner, right? Or at least maybe pull him away in a more cordial way, in a more respectful way, in a more calm way. But the fact that she even has to work herself up as well, it can only scream either one, she's projecting from the fact that she's frustrating him in general, or two, she knows what he's like when he gets excited. Now, bear this in mind, this has happened now twice with Florian. Right at the beginning, he used his hand. In this situation, he used his hand again. But I also just want to pay attention to Stacey. But Stacey even gets involved with her arms and saying, no, stop. So the fact that even that she needs to get to a point where her body language is also showing, okay, I need to be protective of what's going to happen next, that also screams a few things here and there as well. This was the moment here that I wanted to identify where you can notice, Stacey's arms also being up and saying, whoa, stop right there. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. In these situations, there could be a case where maybe Stacey could pull Jasmine away and say, "Listen, don't worry, I'll deal with it, okay? He's my man, let me deal with it." It could be that situation, but instead of doing that, she opts to also get involved in stopping Florian as if she knows what could come moving forward. As well as, well, let's continue. So you see here, Jasmine's going to grab a few things, but Florian is still very comfortable using his hand to try and block her from doing things. Now, maybe he's used to being in a position where he has to use self-defense, maybe because maybe he's been in positions with Stacey where she's got hands on with him, so maybe he's used to being in that self-defense mode. That's why he's using his arms. Or he's used to always using his arm because he feels like that's something that is okay to do despite who the gender is, even though Jasmine's hands were never going in his direction. Jasmine's hands were only ever going to take the drink out of Gina's hand, as well as also trying to do it again, and then also in this time, obviously actually removing Florian's drink, which we can argue and say that maybe Jasmine's gone too far by now trying to take his drink away. But the matter of fact is, though, she has tried to express herself that you are a bad influence to my husband. I would like to actually stop what you're doing. Florian said, no, we're here to have a good time. Leave us alone. And then things obviously escalate to what they are. But now we're witnessing the fact that Stacey has even had to get in the middle. The fact that she has got in the middle is, whoa, we're going to stop here. The good thing about it is that it shows that he's never potentially put his hands on Stacey because she's not afraid to get in his way. I would imagine she'd be afraid to get in his way if she'd ever experienced that before. Okay, there is that potential. But either way, though, she also knows how comfortable he feels being physical to anyone regardless of who they are. And of course, in this situation, she's like, wait, hold on a minute. I'm not about to allow this to pop off. I'm not about to allow this to go in a direction that it doesn't need to go to. And that's why she ends up getting in, obviously even more involved than I would imagine she would have liked to have. But either way, though, let's continue because, of course. And did you hear that? Did you hear Stacey say, "Get out of her face"? I'll play it back a little bit. And we're going to hear her say, "Get out of her face." This must tell me that she's used to him being in her face whenever things get heated, or she's used to seeing him being in people's faces whenever things get heated. But I do wonder though, is this how he is when it comes to men? I don't know if I've seen a season so far where obviously he gets confrontational with men per se. Maybe I have seen it, and maybe he did get in a man's face, but it went over my head because I guess it's men doing men business. You know what I mean? Or maybe he's never gone to a man's face. But then again though, they do have the friend, don't they? Darcy and Stacey have got that friend, the DJ with the funky hair who looks like one of the freaking trolls. So, but then again, you know, that guy doesn't exactly look like the kind of guy that you'd be afraid to get in his face anyway. So maybe he only likes to get in the face of men and women that he knows that he can take advantage of. Maybe that's the thing that he does. Maybe those things are his comfort zone. But again, I can't remember if he got in his face or if that was Georgie that got into his face. Or maybe it was both him and Georgie that got into his face. And he knew he could do it with Georgie because it means it's 2 versus 1. Interesting here. But we continue.
Get away!
So there we are. We even hear one more time from his own wife, get away. She's now becoming more aggressive and more defensive than Jasmine. Why? These are the questions that I feel like are always applicable to ask because you never really know what happens behind closed doors. You never really know what happens behind the camera. But hey, let's read some of the comments here. Now you can see in this first comment here, someone says, Florian jumping didn't put me on alert at all, but the way Stacey reacted did. And this is exactly the same reaction that I had initially when I first saw the scene. It was more about how Stacey behaved, less than how he behaved. That's the sound of a woman who has seen a man do DV, domestic violence, and knows what he's capable of. It was a sudden, serious response from a typically unserious person on a very unserious show. If you know, you know. I mean, listen. Then the response here says, yeah, her voice dropped a couple of octaves and got real raspy. Her voice definitely changed. That's probably the only way to get him to listen and disengage from the situation. Jasmine didn't move or blink. Gina didn't step in or to stand by her side, and that is a very good point. What did Gina do for his woman? Gina was probably too busy thinking about his blue pills so he can go off and play with himself. Does anyone remember Darcy and Stacey episode where it was raining and Stacey was sitting there in the driver's seat and Florian was at the back of the SUV trying to fix the wiper or get in the car? They were at a B&B, I think. Sorry, I can't remember the details, but he went from 1 to 1,000 in 2 seconds, yelled, pounded the car. Stacey's face showed fear. It scared me. Now, I didn't see that. This is exactly what I was thinking. It gave me a serious pause, I can imagine. I agree, 100%. Anyone who has experienced domestic violence would have responded that way. Good observation. Even if Florian wasn't ever violent with Stacey, he may have been violent with others, especially while drunk. I've witnessed my bro-in-law get stupid drunk enough times to realize when he was beyond talking sense into, his eyes will be glazed over and look right past the person in front of him. He would get into fights, break things, and even broke my sister's collarbone while playing around with her because he was wasted. He actually committed... So I don't know. I didn't read his comments. So I do apologize for not giving people a warning. To be fair, I really should have given a warning before reading his comments. I do apologize. Actually, before I make the video, that is actually on me. This past September, because his demons definitely got the best of him. With all that being said, I felt that Stacey's witnessed him get violent, especially while being drunk, and went into defense/protective mode to de-escalation mode. I've heard that voice in my sister and witnessed that situation too many times not to understand what Stacey was going through. Now, bear in mind, everything that we are saying right here in this video is all literally everyone's opinion. This is all our assumptions based on what we have seen. And it's important that we talk about these things and not be afraid to talk about these things because of what they could, or because of the result that these things could actually create. And also talking about these things can easily help other people recognize patterns that's either going on in their own lives or patterns that have happened around them. But I won't read any more, okay, because I'm pretty sure, the rest of the thread does get, does continue to be just as dark, shall I say. And yeah, I'm definitely not here trying to purposely, in any kind of shape or form, to trigger some people or, you know, get people into memory lane or whatnot. This is more about the fact that we have seen a scene where Florian has behaved in a certain type of way and Stacey is reacting a certain type of way, and therefore it has triggered many viewers to have a conversation about what they think could have gone down, as well as what I think this may mean itself in particular. Not gone down, but what we think this could mean. Like I said before, for me personally, I'm not saying that this means that he's necessarily ever put his hands on Stacey, but I do strongly believe that this means she has witnessed him whilst he has been under influence of alcohol, and the kind of rage that he can obviously obviously produce when he's obviously under the drink. But also at the same time, I will say these people who generally seem silent, you poke them long enough, when they rage real quick. And Florian obviously was definitely somebody that had the ability to go from 0 to 100 way too quickly there. At the end of the day, the situation itself in particular was described initially as a fun moment for the guys to have a little bit of fun, to get along, all that kind of jazz. And all of a sudden, just because Jasmine has something to say, he reacts like that quick. The fact that somebody has the ability to go from being that happy to being that rage that quickly, that needs to be looked into, because that's not necessarily a good sign, is it now? Okay, it's not a nice thing to see neither. But either way though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we can talk about it. And I do apologize one more time for not actually giving people a trigger warning beforehand. But nonetheless though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.